Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Top Flight Podcast. You know what it is, you know what we're here to do. Back on screen today, ready to bring you another episode of the Top Flight Podcast. We got Football Critic here and my G Primo. It's us three running the show today. B is unfortunately sick. Bali couldn't make it, so that's why the episode is named 99.5. I know a lot of y'all expected episode 100, but it is coming next week. Be patient, y'all. But right now we got 99.5. I'm gonna introduce the boys. Football critic, mate. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, H. Thank you for having me again. Always a pleasure to be here.
Bro, always good to have you here, man. Your texts are always welcome here. I didn't have you in the space last night. I think you said you were busy last night, but
Yeah.
but it's good to have you here, mate. And also we got Primo. Primo, welcome to the space, brother. How you doing? Welcome to the space. Welcome to the pod, bro.
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. It's feeling good right now, so it's looking good.
You got the cancer-free jersey, bro? Right?
Cancer
What is
free,
that? Let me
baby.
see. Looks nice,
Oh, that's
bro.
right.
That's
Yeah.
a nice little jersey you got on there, bro. We're Austin TV hat. Good times right now, bro.
Bro, I
Yeah.
have I have such a problem with that jersey because I liked it if it were green and black. You know what I mean?
I see what
Like
you're
they
saying.
they they get those jerseys for entire league. I would love it if they just do the colors of each club. It would be fine. But yeah.
That jersey would be beautiful if it were green and black football critic. That's a really good point, mate.
Yes, it would. Like, I love the design. I just wanted it to be green and black.
Yeah, that's a
I would
good
have
point,
bought
bro.
it 100%, but I'm
Hey,
not. Yeah, I'm not buying a yellow jersey just because.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Some people were saying that it looked like LA Galaxy. You know what I'm saying? So if it were to be green and black, it probably would have been really nice, bro. But I do want to shout out real quick. I want to plug in the pod and I want to plug in the website. We're TV.com. Make sure to check it out. We have a lot of good articles coming out there written by right there, football critic JC and also Scott. Hard work coming out from these guys. They put in a lot of time, a lot of hours into these articles. So really appreciate y'all support when y'all checking them out, retweeting them, and just taking on time to look over their previews and also their match reviews. We got Football Critics Seattle review coming up here shortly. By the time this pod is out, the article will be out as well, so you can check that out. And also, tell your friends, tell your family about the Top Flight podcast. Share it at work. Anybody interested with Austin FC, let them know that Top Flight podcast always talks about the best of Austin FC. And some hot takes, some poo poo takes, some good takes as well. We got everything here at Top Flight, and we're Austin TV, mate. It is what it is. Now, boys, let's get into the podcast. Let's get into the show. We got a lot to talk about because we're off of a win. We're off of not just one win. We got back-to-back wins. We're getting points underneath our belt. Against all odds, because people were saying that May was going to be absolutely atrocious for us. Right now, we're on 7 points, if I'm not mistaken, without Driussi. We tied against Portland. Yes, we lost against Dallas, but now we've beaten Seattle, and last night we beat Toronto. Yes, it is a poor team, but at home, you got to beat everybody. We left it late. A lot of fans at Q2, they were saying that we left it late, but it doesn't matter. A 90th minute winner is always good to celebrate. And I have a quote here from Josh Wolf. He says, really proud of the guys. Obviously, for us, this has been coming. As I've said to the players for now a couple weeks, as I've said to you guys, to the media, the group's growing. They're discovering who the 2023 version is. Football critic, I want your overall thoughts on the match last night. Finally, getting some wins, mate.
That match was something for sure. I mean, yeah, because we didn't start Rigoni. He needed some rest.
Yep.
And you could see that even though Finley had an amazing match versus Seattle, and Rodney had been playing great previously to his red card. Those two, when they're not in their day, we don't really generate much. The one true, like, constant offensive, dangerous player that we had was actually Lima, bro. Lima had an amazing game. He had the play where Maxi hit the post. So it was something. It was kind of disappointing because we were seeing so many uh, new chances being created in a different way that we had seen in the beginning of the season that gave us that Seattle, 2-0 lead and gave us that win. And we actually scored goals um, constantly. Without Rigoni, just Lima and Finley, and sorry, yeah, Lima, Redes and Finley just didn't happen too much. We had to rely on other personalities to try making it work, and it didn't. It wasn't until a very, very late and circumstantial goal that we were able to get that win. So I'm still happy for it, but I mean, we definitely needed, Rigoni, Driussi, and everything to be just the great players that they are.
Very happy for it, he says, but before we started shooting, he was very critical of the goal. But we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that goal here in a bit. Football Critic was, happy that it fell, happy that the point went on the board, but he said it was very lucky. But we'll get into that here a bit. Primo, I need your thoughts, mate, on the match last night. Overall, mate, what'd you think, real quick, before we get into the match highlights, brother?
I mean, just a good game. I mean, we got the win at home. It's exactly what we need right now. And although, the team was looking great, team was looking good throughout the whole game, I honestly think that we should have won this game by at least like 2 or 3 more goals. I think it should have been like a 3-4-0. We played really well, but at the same time, Toronto isn't that great of a team right now. I mean, they just didn't do anything. So I expected a little bit more from the team, but it's a lot better than what we've gotten so far. And, 2 wins in a row. Last time we did that was back in March. So hopefully we get the ball rolling. We got this next game coming up. So that might be the reason why Rigoni was on the bench. We did see the likes of Fagundes also towards the end of the match. Who knows if he's going to be getting his start soon also. So everything's kind of falling in place. But I would have liked to see more goals. Maybe a goal from Urruti, who hasn't gotten anything in a while. So, but
Facts.
Solid performance.
100%, bro. And that's what some fans were kind of critical after the game. The vibe is good right now. The energy is positive, but there's still some folks out there that were saying, hey, we needed to beat this team by more than 1 goal. We needed to have finished this game before the 89th minute, the 90th minute, whatever it was that Zardes scored. I believe it was just right after the 90-minute mark. But there were other chances, just like both of y'all said. Maxi hits the post, and let's actually get into the match highlights. Minute 14, Maxi hits the post after a Lima run that sets it up, and we can actually talk about that play just real quick because Football Critic mentioned it, and also a lot of fans on the Twitter space last night, they were mentioning how Nick Lima last night against Toronto was absolutely inspired. Against Toronto, Nick Lima looked like that guy whenever we were very successful in the 2022 season. Maybe it will be because his baby girl was in the stadium last night. He did post a picture with her today in the morning, which is today Sunday. So maybe that's one of the reasons why. But the main thing that we're talking about this highlight is Maxi. He hits the post. Sean Johnson was absolutely defeated. If that ball would have been just a little bit more on target, I was going in. Now, Football Critic, I want to get your take on that shot, the fact that the ball hit the post, but also the Nick Lima run, mate. Go ahead, Football Critic.
I love that Lima performance. He, like you said, he played like the way he did in 2022. And it's sort of a good problem to have because, to be honest, right now it is looking better to have Gallagher on the right and Lundqvist on the left. Because playing these 5-2-3, those wingbacks are being really, really aggressive on the offense. Lima had an amazing game last night. He was brilliant, but he's not usually that. We don't see that too often in every single match, right? I love the guy. I support him 100%. But if you want to be as offensive as we've been lately, the starting position should be Gallagher and Lundqvist. Regardless, that performance, having Maxi give that Maxi that opportunity is amazing. Sadly, Maxi, it's sort of become a characteristic of him hitting the post at least once per game, and it's kind of sad because hitting the post is the same as going off target. But he gets shots with a better XG, maybe. I don't know if that data is correct, but I see more opportunities with Maxi than with Zardes, although we get to that conversation later.
Okay, interesting, my G football critic. Yes, now Maxi hit the post, came back. Sean Johnson was defeated. Nick Lima absolutely inspired me. Now, there wasn't much that happened in this game, just like we've been saying. We left it till the very end. Even leading up to that, there was a couple things that happened. Some instances, some shots, a couple saves here and there. Minute 63, though, we had a triple substitution. Rigoni, Zardes, Valencia. They come on for Finley. He came out for Rigoni. Dani Pereira came out for Joan Valencia, and Max Urruti, who we just spoke about, came out for Gyasi Zardes. That was minute 63. Now, when that happened, I'm sure a lot of people were thinking, okay, Josh Wolf is definitely going for that win. We have to go for it. I was working the media side of things for Austin TV during that game, and where I was sitting at getting photos for the page, the players were warming up right in front of me. So it was actually pretty cool to see, Emmy getting loose, Zardes getting ready to go onto the field. Radovanovic was also there. Hector Jimenez didn't tell him anything because obviously those guys are at work. You can't communicate with them at all. You got to shut up and just take your photos. But they were getting ready. It looked like they had a mission in their mind and they had to execute it. Fortunately, Zardes was the one that got it done. Now, minute 70, Mark Anthony K drags Jafal to the floor and only sees a yellow card, mate. Only sees a yellow card for this. I think that there was more to this. I think that it had maybe a bit of a nasty intention because you've seen players pull shirts, pull jerseys, but Mark Anthony K grabs Jafal and just Phoenix said that he RKO'd him onto the ground. I mean, it was disrespectful. It was disgusting to see. And one thing that I was maybe a little disappointed in was the reaction by the Austin FC players. I expected a bit more of maybe a bit more of a brotherhood reaction to what happened to Sofiane Jeffal. I think it was a bit of a passive reaction. I thought Julio Cascante was gonna get in his grill, push him to the ground, and get a yellow card himself. I thought a brawl was about to ensue right after that, but the reaction was calm. Maybe credit to the Austin FC players for not getting involved into something stupid and everybody getting some unnecessary yellow cards. But I want to get y'all's takes. But I want to start off with you, mate. This Mark Anthony K guy drags Jeff onto the floor, mate. Only sees a yellow. What were your thoughts on that?
Man, who is that guy, man?
Mark Anthony K.
Who is Mark Anthony K?
He used to play with LAFC, got booted from there. I think it was at Colorado,
Yeah.
and then got traded to Toronto, bro. Wild journey, if I'm not mistaken.
That's crazy. Nah, I mean that was uncalled for sure. And you know what? You know why he was pulling his shirt?
No,
Because Jafar was balling out, boy.
he was.
Jafar was balling out that game. So
He was.
I don't know. Maybe he was already frustrated. He was, getting around him and just decided to drag him down. And as far as the players not going up, and maybe defending him a little bit more, I think it might just be that they just don't want to get those yellows, man.
100%.
That whole Ronnie situation when he got a red card that really messed us up that game.
Mm-hmm.
Danny had gotten an unnecessary yellow card earlier that game, so maybe they're just being cautious about the whole situation. But
true.
Yeah, it was uncalled for sure.
Now, minute 73, I want to go on and get your take, football critic, on this. Minute 73, Rigoni has a free kick. Obviously, that Mark Anthony K foul on Jeff Fowler, that disrespectful situation where he pulled him down to the ground. It gave us a free kick opportunity, and Rigoni steps over it. Now, the commentator, I believe it was Adrian Healy, he was saying how Rigoni was looking at it, maybe eyeing it up, thinking about going to Sean Johnson's post, but he was thinking like, I don't know if he's going to actually do it because the angle might not be there for him. Or Rigoni, descarado, bro. He tries it and he almost pulls it off. The ball goes into the side of the net, mate, but it was so close. Well, critic, what were you thinking, mate, when you saw that ball just barely missed the post? Looks like the goalie might have had it covered if it was on target, but it was a really good try.
Well, for me, I don't think I recall any other free kick from Rigoni. If I'm not mistaken, the free kicks that we've seen before, it was actually Lundqvist hitting them, but not towards goal, but rather to make a center pass for someone inside the area to head it. So, I mean, we're talking about the guy that is in charge of all of the corner kicks, both left and right. Mm-hmm. So for a guy to have that responsibility, you gotta know he's good at some sort of free kick, right? This one was pretty close. He saw an angle. He almost hit it. I mean, I'm I'm sure Wolf has confidence in that. I just said we haven't seen that opportunity that much because every single time we get a free kick, unless it's right outside of the box and Fagui is playing, no one ever is gonna hit that straight goal. They're gonna play for a center pass. So
True.
yeah, no, I'm not surprised. Would like to see a Rigoni free kick goal. Would be pretty amazing. But it brings us to a question like, hey, so if Fagu is back, who's gonna take the free kicks? Who's gonna be better at it?
Mm.
If it's from too far away, is it gonna be Lundqvist? Is it from up
Yeah.
close, Fagu or Rigoni? Maybe Seba, he also took free kicks this season. So
Yep.
hey, that would be interesting to see.
And Lundqvist has a rocket too, man, dude. That guy.
He does.
That's actually the next highlight. Minute 87, Lundqvist de tres dedos. Just beautiful effect that he tries to put on it. Doesn't get enough on it. That little spin for it to creep into the keeper's post. By the way, Sean Johnson was left flat-footed on that. If it would have caught the right effect, the right spin on it, it would have been a banger, bro. Banger. And I think I believe I heard the commentator say that Lunkovic has not scored in MLS, even with that shot that he has. So hopefully he gets his goal with Austin FC. That'd be beautiful for him to celebrate. Not only for Austin FC, it'd be cool for him to do that with us, but at Q2 Stadium because Zardes. Well, we're gonna talk about his goal. That's the one that's coming up next. But football critic, anything you want to say on Lunkovic's chance where he tries to creep it in?
That guy has a goal incoming, bro.
Of course.
He's been giving signals all around like every single game. He has 1, 2 chances, long shot chances that just barely, are out of the way. But he's getting a goal.
Yeah.
And what a better way than to do it versus Houston, who are actually below us in the table
Next game,
at
yeah.
Q2.
Next league game.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be
Especially
amazing.
since we kind of sort of lost with Houston because of a mistake that he made.
Hey, he's actually been building, but we're gonna get to that lineup and we'll talk about him here in a bit. But anyway, I want to get your take on this next highlight that happened. Obviously, the big one, the one that we're gonna talk about. The highlight, minute 90, Zardes goal from a Lunkovic cross came from him, but it is headed away. There was a bit of a mix-up there in the box. Julio goes to the ground. There was a question we were asking before we started recording if Julio Cascante did interfere with Sean Johnson's path. Should that have been called back? Because the Toronto players and Sean Johnson himself were very frustrated with the ref when the ball did go into the back of the net because Julio Cascante maybe was impeding with Sean Johnson's path, but we're gonna have to discuss that right now. But yes, Zardes goal, Lankovic, beautiful ball in. Didn't really get the accuracy that you wanted. But before the Lankovic cross, I want to give a shout out to an unsung hero, which is Valencia. He puts in a peach of a ball, a long little cheeky little lobby ball into Lankovic, who does good work himself to create the chance for him to cross the ball in the first place. But Valencia, a guy that has been really good for us lately. The minutes that he's been given, he's been taking advantage. And we had a post on We Austin TV on Instagram a couple days ago where we said, hey, what is your thoughts on Johan Valencia's recent performances? And so many people came out and commented, so many positive messages saying, hey, this guy's been doing all of the dirty work. Nobody really talks about all the hard work that he does. But Johan Valencia, in the build-up to this goal that got us 3 very, very important points. So, Primo, your take on the goal, because I want to hear from you, mate. What was going through your mind when Q2 green lights lit up and you realized, damn, bro, we just won this game?
Man, it was an amazing feeling, first of all, because it was so late into the game and I couldn't bear another tie, man, especially at home.
Oh, yeah.
That would
0-0?
suck. So
Yeah.
I was just ecstatic that Zardes got his goal at the last minute. And then for it to be Zardes, I mean, before even all that, shout out to Valencia for doing an amazing job. This his whole time, and he's gaining some good PT in. I think he's doing amazing with every single minute that he's getting. And then goes on to Lunkovic, who's another guy that's been doing pretty good so far. And then it just, Zardes just puts himself in that position, man. Whether it was lucky or not, Zardes is always in that box, ready to score. So good for him. He I saw a quote that had said something about, he's been doing this for 11 years
Yep.
professionally, and
Yeah.
he knows what he's doing. He's a good striker. So shout out for Zardes getting his first goal at Q2. And then with the whole Cascante thing, I think he just didn't want to get up because he didn't want to like interfere with whatever was going on.
Okay. So if Cascante gets up, he interferes with the players, is what you're saying. So he
Yeah, I feel
stays on
like,
the ground
it'll feel
to
like
stay out
it'll
of the play.
get it'll get much more crowded, and even with Cascante on the floor, the goalkeeper got a save on that
Yeah,
ball, on
that's
that
true.
first ball. So
Yeah.
it was unfortunate that it just landed on Zardes, I think.
Yeah, one of the Toronto players, Primo, that was on that line, protecting their goal whenever the ball goes into the back of the net. He also kind of signals to his goalkeeper like, you should have caught it, you should have brought it in, because
Yeah,
he
he
kind
should
of
have
punches
caught
it up in the air, doesn't he?
it. Yeah.
And that creates the header for Nick Lima, who heads it backwards, onto that crossbar. It lands to Gyasi Zardes, who, obviously finished it beautifully. On that quote, Primo, that you had just mentioned, Gyasi Zardes, he says, even when I wasn't scoring, I was still confident. I've been doing this for 11 years professionally now. It also has a part two to that quote. He says, I understand sometimes you go through phases when things are not going your way. So you just have those spells where everything's going your way and sometimes everything's not. But I keep the same mentality. And we can actually go into Zardes before we talk about the lineup and the formation. 2 goals in 2 games. Both have been game winners. Both have been headers. I saw the Austin FC Communications tweet out. They said the 26 game winner of his career. He ranks second among active MLS players. And it is important to note, Maxi, the war is obviously not necessarily a war, but the battle for that spot, that starting striker position. Maxi, 2 goals in 13 games. Zardes, 2 goals in 14 games, all competitions for both players. And seems maybe this is a question that we're going to ask. Fans called down his salary, or put a bit of emphasis into it in Instagram and social media. It seemed like it maybe lit a fire under some of these player butts, but Gyasi Zardes came out. There was a video that came out by Michelle Sanchez today, and Zardes, in the video, he says that he doesn't hear criticism. He doesn't hear that negative, those negative comments from those fans. He says that he only hears positive. That's all that he hears from. So he doesn't know where this negativity is coming from. So we'll talk about Zardes. We're talking about his goal. Football critic, mate, give us your thoughts on everything that's surrounding Zardes right now.
Look, I'm gonna give him credit for the goal versus Seattle, because doing the run it back for it, I watched that replay of the goal over and over and over again, and he does amazingly. Like, he's being marked by 2 defenders. He sort of like zigzags around, loses one, and then he's able to get the header. So that to me was
Credit him there. Credit him there,
yeah,
100%.
absolutely. That's his goal 100%.
Get
Especially
to the butt.
like how no, like that goal is fine. Now this goal, I'm having problems getting him that much credit. I mean, I'll give him credit for being in that position and deciding to head it in that particular spot, as he supposedly thought. Well, he said he thought that's where he wanted to put it. So I'm gonna believe him and say, okay, he decided that, and he did, and okay, cool. He owns that part, that credit. Where I disagree is that I'm not convinced that Zardes is back on his track, and Zardes is that main striker that we are gonna have and we need. And no, sorry, but no. He only has one good goal that I value as a part of the system. This goal, I find it very circumstantial in the fact that, first, it wasn't. I believe it wasn't actually the keeper from Toronto, but a defender that heads the ball, goes high, and then Lima gets the head back into the cross. So as that happens, the keeper, for some reason that I don't understand, I'm pretty sure Toronto fans don't understand, Austin fans don't understand, the keeper never came out. The keeper never came out to get that ball to punch it out. Like, why? I don't know. You can't blame Julio. He wasn't that close to the keeper for him not to come out and punch the ball out. So, big mistake right there from the keeper. Second
Okay.
mistake, that you had two defenders on the line of the goal. I understand they want to block the way. Why is no one taking the risk as they see the ball come out? They just try to get on the way, right? That also doesn't happen. And third of all, there's when you get a number 9 in their position that they should be and heading the ball where they think they should. Like that part is fine. So this is very, very circumstantial. This is a ball off of a rebound. This is something that Zardes did not create. He just was at a good spot in the perfect second. Because Lima for sure did not know where that ball was going to bounce out when he hit the crossbar.
True.
Right.
Yeah,
so
true.
that's where I don't give him credit for.
Okay.
I see more experience, more MLS veteran experience from Bruin in the minutes that he's got than from Zardes.
All right. Hey, football critics take respect it 100%. I have a quote here from Zardes on the goal, kind of what you touched up on, football critic. Zardes, he says, quote, when Nick went out for the ball and I saw the keeper didn't come out, I was like, this ball is going to come back to me. It's going to come back to me. Sure enough, it hit the crossbar and came straight back to me, and I just saw this little area. I wanted to put it in that area, and the defender didn't get to it. It's such a good feeling to score finally here, talking about Q2 Stadium. He also said that he will never forget this moment, finally scoring at home. And I do want to just real quick spend a couple seconds talking about the atmosphere at Q2 Stadium last night. Primo was there with me, mate. It was absolutely electric last night. It was, talking about the game Toronto. This pod will be out Monday morning, but the atmosphere at Q2 Stadium just every week is just better and better and better. It's just fantastic, man. Let's see. I have a quote here from Wolf on Zardes. He says, quote, his greatest quality is his mentality. It takes a lot to take the abuse that media gives, that fans give, and it's been his whole career for some unknown reason. Guy has over 100 career goals. All credit goes to Zardes. He keeps pushing. Now, Primo, I want to bring you in on this, man, real quick, right now that we're talking about Zardes. The video that was posted by Michelle Sanchez with the Zardes interview, Zardes says that he doesn't hear the negative takes. You think that he's capping. You say he's lying. What do you think, man? Why do you say that?
I mean, I feel like it's just kind of hard to avoid sometimes, it's even if you're not really on social media like that, I feel like you'll hear it somewhere. So whether he pays attention to it or not is another thing, but for him to hear it, I think he's heard a few things. But for him to come out and say, this is how he handles things and where, how his mindset is, shout out to him for that. And
good mentality, yeah.
Good mentality, and hopefully, it keeps helping him score goals. That's what we asked for him, and 2 goals in 2 games so far. But it's gonna be tough to make up for all the time that he hasn't scored. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Not just him, Maxi and him have very similar goal tallies. And Maxi also, all of our strikers do need to keep performing, step it up. Just like football critics said, I mean, these 2 goals, they're not enough for, to fully silence, quote unquote, those haters. Now, Zardes, I do want to say this. I mean, I think it's maybe a little easier to avoid a bit of the negative attention surrounding a player when you have the comments turned off on posts. So if that helps you as a player to make yourself get better, hey, turn off the comments, bro, because Zardes has them turned off if I'm not mistaken. But let's see. Before we skip over the Zardes topic, which we're all happy that he is finally scoring his goals, I have to ask this question, boys. Starting off with you, football critic, Zardes, the new hero for AustinFC? Yes or no?
Nah.
No.
Mm-mm.
No. Let yourself
One
be happy,
good goal.
football critic. Let yourself be happy.
No, I'm happy. No.
Okay,
I'm happy.
okay.
Let's not get that mistaken. I'm happy the goal happened. I'm happy.
Okay.
When he scored against Seattle, I was so happy that he shut me up.
Okay.
We're talking about one good systematic goal. One.
Right.
The other one was a lucky. I'm not convinced.
Right.
Not yet.
Okay. Primo, same question goes to you, mate. Zardes, the new hero for AustinFC?
Oh, man. I'm going to have to say no as of right now.
Another one here that just doesn't want to choose happiness. Another one doesn't want to choose happiness, mate. Hey, Zardes is the new hero for AustinFC, mate. Back-to-back game winners. Watch him get a 3rd one against Chicago or even against Houston. And then I'm going to ask you the same question. Is he the new hero for AustinFC? We'll see, mate. Let's see. I do want to go into the lineup talk real quick, the lineup discussion and player ratings before we finish up on the Austin FC side of things. The lineup was interesting. You know, it's a system that we've been playing for a couple games now since Driussi left. As soon as the first game without him, Portland, we tried out this lineup with that 5 in the back. But last night, maybe we saw one of the best kind of nights of it. Maybe you boys think otherwise, but we had Alex Ring, Julio Cascante, Leo Väisänen there in the back. Alex Ring with the 7.4, Julio Cascante same with the 7.4, and Leo Väisänen with the 7.1. These match ratings are via SofaScore. Brad Stewart with a 7.0 match rating. Now moving forward, we had John Gallagher with a 6.4. Sorry. 7.0 for Danny Pereira. He picked up his 4th yellow card, y'all. So you know what that means with his next one. You know what that means. Danny Pereira from last season starting to come back right around the same time. Danny, focus, mate. He got a silly yellow card last night, which shouldn't have happened. He now has 4 MLS yellow cards. He had a 7.0 match rating. He had a fantastic game last night, though. How can you hate this kid? Like, I can't even be mad at him, bro. Can't even be mad at this kid. Sofiane Jafal Primo said that he was balling out. He did have a great game, 7.0 match rating. His first start for Austin FC, his first start in MLS since December or October. I think October with DC United. I think he took advantage of his performance very well. And we had a quote posted on We Austin TV on Instagram where Sofiane Jafal says, "Hey, I was just patient, waiting for my moment, waiting for my time." And it's up there if you'd like to take a look at it. I'll read it right now when after we get y'all's takes. Moving forward, we had Nick Lima also, which we touched up on very briefly earlier. Renaissance of a game. He's coming back. That 2022 Nick Lima is slowly coming back into the 2023 picture, and we love it. Rodney Redes with the 6.7. Bit of a quiet night for him. He is coming back after that he is coming back after that suspension. So can't expect him to drop, a brace, I guess. We know who Rodney Redes is as a player, and we got to maybe realize what our expectations are with him. Maxi Urruti with the 7.0 match rating. The big question is between him and Zardes, who's going to be that solidified striker. I think we don't even know the answer to that question yet, but Zardes may be leading the race. I'm not sure right now. Ethan Finley, another player, maybe had a bit of a ghost game. He has a 6.4 match rating. He had a yellow card and was substituted. So, Football Critic, mate, your thoughts on the lineup real quick and any player you'd like to highlight. Go ahead, mate.
Lineup was surprising. Didn't expect to see Rodney and Finley.
Okay.
But it's expected if you want your DP finally performing player to get a rest, right? Surprised about Danny, to be honest. Why? Because this is the first MLS game in the entire season that Danny hasn't played the full 90. He didn't play the full 90 versus New Mexico, but I think that was it. Besides that, Danny has been playing every single minute. And this kid is reminding me of Pedri, last season, I think, like when he got to play I don't know how many games with Spain and Barcelona, and the guy was just gassed, bro. Like he looked bad. He looked like he lost 50 pounds. So Danny, with so many minutes, I would be worried about Danny's health because even though he's 22, 23, that's still a hell lot about of minutes.
Real quick point on that, Football Critic. I'm pulling up his minutes right now in MLS play. I'm getting it from MLSsoccer.com, so it is just MLS. I don't think it includes all competitions. But in MLS right now, he has recorded over 1,100 minutes. The only player that has more minutes than him, can you guess who?
It's Stuver,
the guy in goal. Now, I'm sure that the fatigue on his knees, his ankles, the wear and tear on his legs is not the same as Danny's wear and tear, right? The player behind Danny Pereira with most minutes is Alex Ring. He just got over 1,000 minutes. He has 1,094. But just like we mentioned, Danny Pereira with over 1,100 minutes. I think Wolf is also starting to notice that. In the press conference, they asked him about Danny Pereira, either in this one or in the previous one. And he did mention, we're trying to take care of him. We got to watch this kid. And unfortunately for us, mate, Danny Pereira is about to get picked up by his country, and he's going to go play with them maybe, right? So he could be seeing more minutes with other teams, if he gets picked up by his country here coming soon. Let's see. Anything else you want to add, Football Critic, on the lineup or anybody, the players?
No, not really. Sofiane Jafal had a great game. A few misplaced passes or whatever, but you can see that guy has talent. So I think our midfield with Valencia, Danny, Jafal, and Owen is pretty solid.
100%. And Josh Wolf in the press conference, he also noted how Sofiane Jafal has a different player profile than Owen, player profile than Danny. He's a
Yeah.
bit more elegant. He's a bit
They're
more.
all different.
They're all
All of
different.
them.
They're
Yeah.
like three different Pokemon. It's like Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur, bro. They all give you something different. You know what I'm saying? And it's cool that we have all three starting Pokemon right now. If I can make that analogy, I guess you can say. Let's see, Primo. I want to get your take, mate, on the lineup and any player you would like to highlight, brother.
Yeah, I mean, pretty solid lineup, especially with another, um, you know, close game coming up against Chicago. Um, I was a bit surprised to see Rigoni on the bench.
Yeah, I
Um,
think a lot of people were.
I was really expecting him to start, and a little bit surprised that Zardes was also on the bench this game, especially with his goal against Seattle. But like I said, who knows? Maybe Joshua was saving some of those players for Chicago. Same thing with Valencia. I would have probably expected him to start. Also, he's been having some good momentum going on. But I think my standout guy is probably gonna have to be Cascante. I think with him coming off of injury, he's looking great, man. He's looking pretty solid. So um, that's that's real. It's really good for us. It's not always that a player comes off of injury and some of these guys get injured right away. So shout out to Cascante for coming back healthy and looking like he never left. So
Yeah, dude. And on the Twitter space last night, we were on it, and AustinFC dropped a bit of a hype video, a bit of a emotional video there at the end in the locker room. I think Julio Cascante got the game ball. He wasn't man of the match, but I believe he got the game ball. Or at least that was the ritual that we saw, because he did have a ball in his hands as he was speaking. And he goes on to say, he says, just says, hey, yo, I was out for so long, and to be able to come back, like, it's just amazing. And he says that he believes that we're a big team, believes that we're a big club, and just for our captain to have the energy, and he is our captain. He had the captain band on him. Right now, it's a mess with the captaincy, but he had it on last night, or at least the game versus Toronto. And it's just nice to hear that our captain has that mindset. And he was very close to Ruben Gaberson. Those guys were like two peas in a freaking pod whenever Ruben was here. So maybe a bit of that Ruben fight, that Ruben war, that Ruben fire is rubbing off of Julio, and Julio's going to shape into this absolute just monster leader for us. And if he can combine good performances with leadership, bro, we're going to have something beautiful brewing in that back line. Let's see, Football Critic, anything else we can add on to the lineup, or any honorable mentions, standout players?
The subs, I guess.
The subs,
Lundqvist,
yes, real quick, subs.
he came in. Lundqvist did amazing. Well, he had
Blancos.
the hockey assist, maybe.
They didn't give him. They didn't give him to. I was looking hard for any media
Yeah,
outlet that gave
I
him
think they
anything. Nothing.
I think they didn't, but just because the cross got intercepted by the defender and then
Yeah.
Lima got to it.
Yeah.
But still, and he also had the great chance of that shot that barely missed the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Lundqvist has been doing really, really great.
And real quick, Football Critic, on the shots of Lundqvist doing great. We can also go back to the FC Dallas game where he has a volley saved from the top corner by the FC Dallas keeper, mate. So
Yeah.
go ahead, brother.
I mean, like I said, Lundqvist has been just amazing.
Mhm.
Valencia, like you said, like he's been distributing that ball amazingly. Usually with he does what he does is defend and then long passes, ping
Mhm.
pong long passes. So
Yep.
that's been great. He's been working amazing. So yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, and I guess my star player, the dude that I'm gonna highlight, Nick Lima. I think he had a beautiful game, standout game. He wanted to attack. He wanted to score goals. If Maxi didn't shoot that ball earlier, minute 14, when it did strike that post, Nick Lima was making that run into the penalty area where Maxi could have laid it off to him and he could have set him up. I think maybe Nick Lima was chasing that, because to me, I think he lays off the ball to Maxi just a second too early. The angle kind of closes on him, but Maxi gets a really good shot off. But shout out to Nick Lima, defensively, offensively, the guy's getting it done. And I think maybe that's a testament to him, being a fighter, seeing that he was losing his job or losing his starting position to, Gallagher and Lunkovic. They were doing job. And Nick Lima's a guy that competes. This guy's a fighter. This guy 100% he's going to fight for his spot. And I'm really happy that he's getting back into that form. Let's see, boys. I want to just real quick match ratings for the bench. Emiliano Rigoni 6.4, Valencia 6.9, Zardes 7.0, Lunkovic 7.0, and Dieguito Fagundes, who is slowly getting his way back into fitness with a 6.5. Now, the next question that I'm going to ask real quick, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, is a bit of chatter around the Austin FC community talking about the life without Driussi Dior. Where does he fit when he comes back? And some fans are saying we're better without Driussi. Not a lot of fans, but we heard chatter just a little bit. And also, does the Driussi dependency end officially? Because we were so dependent on Driussi, but it seems like we're getting results without him finally. So, Football Critic, going to start off with you, mate. The new 5-2-3 system, are we going to stick with that when Driussi comes back? Are we going to go back to the 4-3-3? Are we going to see a 4-2-3-1? What's going to happen whenever Driussi comes back onto this team, mate?
There is no short way to answer all of that. There's just none.
I just set you up.
Yeah. So to be very, very concise, because I could explain this in a whole, like if I got time, I would explain this. But to be really concise, I don't think we're changing formations.
Okay.
I do agree the dependence on Driussi ended. We're no longer dependent on him, and that's good. I applaud that from the team and from Wolf. I don't think we're better without Driussi.
100% we're not. End that chatter right now. End it right now.
Yeah.
End it right now, man, because we did win against Toronto. I get it. Everybody's hype that caused you to say things like that, but it was last place in the East Toronto. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
we also left it to a late winner by Zardes, which Football Critic gave his criticism on that. I mean, we were moments away. We were minutes away from a 0-0 draw, just like Primo was saying, a 0-0 draw against bottom of the East Toronto at home. Can you imagine how different the conversation would have been? Football Critic, the different things we would be talking about right now if we would have drawn. It would have been completely different. Would have been completely different. And we were minutes away from that, bro.
No, and you got to remember, you can't judge Driussi for his earlier performance in this year because it wasn't his fault. It was just the way he was being played that didn't work. I'm sure if you play Driussi the right way, how he wants to play, how he feels right, he's going to be scoring goals and be as influential as he was last year. Like the talent is still there. You just can't think, we're better without him because you're thinking of early Driussi in 2023.
Facts. Now, Primo, I do want to bring you in, mate. Get your answer on this question right now that we're talking about, and then we'll go on to the Austin FC 2 update. Fans, a few of them, not a lot. Don't want to say that there's a lot of people saying it, but we did hear chatter that Driussi is not needed in this team, maybe, and also some fans saying that we're playing beautiful without him right now. I don't think that's the case, but I want to get your take, Primo. Maybe this is, not maybe, this is a good issue. This is 100% a good issue to, not know where Driussi is going to be when he comes back because players are performing finally. But also another question that some people had, Primo, is how are we going to fit Driussi, Emiliano Rigoni, and Diego Fagundes on the field at the same time? Because somebody's going to have to be sacrificed with this new system. Go ahead, Primo.
Yeah, I think the whole Driussi situation for saying that we play better without him is just mad. It's
mad.
Crazy.
Absolutely mad.
I agree with Football Critic. I don't think we're gonna stick with this formation. I think we're just doing enough to get by without Driussi. I think it's barely working in our favor. We got a good result against Seattle. It barely worked against Toronto. I think we had to make the adjustment without Driussi. If we kept playing how we were playing without Driussi, it's not going to work because he's simply not there. So I think we're going to go back to how we were. Driussi, I believe, is the type of player to just come in and get himself involved right away. So I have no doubt that he's gonna slack off a little bit, or it's gonna take him a few games to catch up to rhythm. What I am hopeful for is I hope that this team just continues to play well and with Driussi coming back, hopefully it just gets better and we see more of what we're seeing last year. And not only with Driussi, but with the whole team.
100%, Primo. I couldn't agree more with that, mate. Let's see. Some people on Twitter were also saying that the top five spending team in MLS should have this issue, bro. And we are the top five spending team in MLS. We're spending a good amount of money, bro. We're spending a good amount of money. We got to be real with it. And even though we shouldn't. Some people were saying we shouldn't be looking into it too much. Fans shouldn't be caring about how much the teams are paying their players or whatnot. But it does have a bit of a financial aspect, a bit of an importance to it because you also want to make sure that some weird amount of money is being paid to a player that is not producing at all. But I do side with some people that are saying that maybe that's not important to the season right now. But let's see. Anything else we can add on that question about the Driussi dependency and life without Driussi Dior, boys?
I mean, to be honest, if we were to switch back to the 4-3-3 when Driussi comes back, I would be highly disappointed in Wolf. Because that formation did not work at all, and I think he finally saw it. Because in that formation, he wanted to play a dual 10 with Driussi and then Rigoni coming in. With this back five, the wing backs were no longer fullbacks, but wing backs. They can cover more ground and leave Driussi in the middle. Okay, so just picture this. Wolf is not going to play without a striker. He's still going to have Maxi, Zardes, and Zardes is his favorite guy. So playing Rigoni and Driussi at the 9 is just not realistic. I would love to see it, but it's not realistic. So just picture Rigoni on the left, Driussi on the right, and then Zardes, I guess, on the 9, right? The wingbacks run up, and Driussi or Rigoni, they are both free to go to the middle and play as a 10, as Rigoni has done and as Gyasi loves to play. That is what should give us a lot more opportunity. But if we just switch back to a 4-3-3, the midfield is going to get congested again. Gyasi is going to be shut down because he's not going to have the free space to do what he does best. So we're going to start losing again.
I see that take. I see that point, Football Critic. Interesting what's going to happen whenever Driussi does come back. Now, I project he's going to be back around that Sporting Kansas City game in June 10th, if I'm not mistaken. I know we play Sporting Kansas City here coming up soon. I think Driussi will be back around that time. No official timeline on that. No official comment by Wolf on Driussi Dior's injury. So we're still going to wait for the update on that. But as of now, Driussi Dior still sidelined, unfortunately. But fortunately, the results are landing. The results are coming in. But the boys are saying that it's not that we're playing good without Driussi. It's that we're scraping by without Driussi. So really good point on that, mates. Now, let's see. AustinFC 2 update. AustinFC, real quick, spending a couple minutes on them. Yesterday, when I was working, I keep saying yesterday. This podcast is going to be out on Monday. The match against Toronto, when I was working the media section, David Rodriguez was sitting in one of the front rows, and I was able to say hello to him. I actually double take. It's like whenever you see somebody and then you look away, you're like, wait, I know that person. And then I look back and I was like, that's David. Went up to him and just real quick, didn't want to bother him. He was with family. I just wanted to say, hey, what's up, man? He's very polite, very nice kid. I think he might have recognized my face or some of the videos or other content that we drop. And he was like, hey, what's up? How are you? And I was like, well, nothing. I'm just here working. He was like, well, enjoy the game. And I was like, you too, man. And that was it. I had to go to the restroom, but he's such a good kid, polite kid. But yes, back-to-back losses to Colorado and San Jose. Two good teams. Colorado, top of the West in the MLS Next Pro League. Only 2 losses this season, which are these unfortunate back-to-back losses. And important notes also, David Rodriguez, who was previously mentioned right now in that little story, and CJ Fodry called up to the first team. Now, Football Critic, you had a take where you said, yo, bro, did the magic shift from the AustinFC 2 team to the first team? Because what a coincidence that the first team is getting results and the 2 team is starting to not get results. But your thoughts on FCito, bro? Any update you'd like to share?
Oh, I mean, the loss versus Colorado is, I guess, expected in the possibilities when you're facing the top leading team in the conference, right?
Yep.
And the loss to San Jose, I think, is just a big first mistake from Damian Lass, right?
Yes.
And you're allowed to have one every few games as a player. That's fine.
I have a story for that too.
Yeah, so I mean, and well, that explains the loss, and the reason why we didn't score is I believe Rodriguez wasn't starting. Like we didn't have our best starting players that game,
Yeah.
so that could explain why we didn't score versus San Jose, and and that last mistake make us lose,
Now,
and then yeah.
real quick, bro, I was at the game versus San Jose. I was watching AustinFC. I wanted to go support them. You know, there was over 800 tickets sold for that game for the San Jose. Sorry, excuse me. For the San Jose game, there was over 800 tickets sold. 800, bro, to go see FC to play. Now it's about $12 each ticket, so you can do the math. But if you could just real quick do 800 times 12, just super quick, Primo, I'd appreciate that real quick, dog. But yes, that's how many tickets were sold for the FC. Though I saw an employee from Austin FC post that, so that's massive. I mean, so much support. The coach,
9,600.
90, so 9,600.
Mm-hmm.
A quick 10K right there, bro.
Quick 10K.
Quick 10K right there. Quick 10K. Now, the story that I wanted to share, I was at that game, and when the Damian lost mistake happened, which was unfortunate, it happens to keepers, bro. They can't be perfect all the time. But unfortunately, when you're a keeper and you commit one of those mistakes, it affects you in the fact that it's a goal against you. You commit a mistake when you're a keeper, it's a goal. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want that to happen, but mistakes happen. And Damian Loss has saved them so many times. You can give him one. You can give him
Yeah.
one, bro. Right? So when the San Jose player scores, tell me why this bozo goes
Oh
to the
God.
supporters, goes to the supporters, bro, and puts the fingers to his ears so he's saying like, I can't hear you, or like, shh, mate, you scored from a Damian Loss mistake, and you're shushing the supporters. What happened to shame, bro? What happened to shame, bro? It was absolutely it was atrocious behavior. The kid, the organization, they should be fined $10,000 each. And the supporters for Austin FC, made they got chippy after that. They were saying, "F you, stupid kid," yada yada yada. It was freaking crazy, bro. And to the people that are interested in going out to see these games, the drink prices there, bro, at the pitch, fantastic, dude. Everybody was absolutely over the moon about $15 pitchers. They were like, "Yo, pitchers are so cheap out here. It's awesome," because Q2 Stadium, the beer is really pricey. But Primo, you have any thoughts you want to share on the Austin FC2 boys, mate?
I mean, tough loss,
Tough
because
loss.
they've been doing fantastic so far, but I think they're just gonna bounce back from this loss, and they'll fix up what needs to be done, and all these kids, man, all of them are so good, and I think they all have such a bright future ahead of them. You're already seeing some of the players move up to the first team, which is something that we've always wanted to see.
Yeah,
We've always called for that.
it's a
So
process. It's a process.
it's a process, but we're finally seeing it in motion. And for the people who haven't gone to those games, I've been to a couple, and it's crazy, man. The atmosphere is, same as it is at Q2. It's a bit smaller, but everyone's there. Everyone's having a good time. You get into the game, and some of these games are really entertaining. Like I said, we have a good team. We have a good bunch of kids, and there's a lot of talent on that field. So it's always good to see that, and you're pretty up close also. So uh, really good spot to catch those games. But shout out to those boys. Like I said, I think they'll just bounce back from the cell.
100%, bro. And I'm the one that makes the post on Instagram with the full-time edits and stuff like that. And on the caption, I put in a little message like, "We're gonna freaking bounce back from this." Like, two
Yeah.
back-to-back losses. It's all good. This team has so much talent, and they've been putting so many good performances early on in the season where they can have, I guess, two quote unquote slack off games where you don't get the results that you want. But the important thing is the way that they bounce back from this, just like we had mentioned, and the talent in that team. It does not worry me at all that these players are going to be back to fighting for that first spot. I mean, they're in second place. I mean, these kids, bro, they've been playing their ass off. Second place for them. I know that they want to be in first, but I'm proud of them right now. Proud of them, and they're playing good football. Just like Primo said, promoting them to the first team is coming. David Rodriguez, he's gonna get his moment. He's gonna get his moment. But let's see. I want to talk about Owen Wolf and his U.S. men's national team U20 World Cup update. Football critic, I know you have some notes on this. Some notable things: he gets to start against Ecuador, and he played 90 minutes. Start a 90-minute performance against Ecuador. It doesn't just end there, though. He bags an assist. I believe it was Gomez with the golazo, absolute banger of a goal. Maybe 75% of that goal was the actual shot, and the player that gets it off, Owen Wolf, with an important assist, yes, because he does switch the field, finds that space, but important contribution by Owen Wolf. Josh Wolf was asked about Owen Wolf in the press conference against Toronto, and he does give him praise, and he was like, hey, I don't want to give him praise just because he's my son. Like, that shouldn't matter at all. The kid is balling out right now. I think they play Fiji up next, if I'm not mistaken. Now that
Yeah.
should be an automatic dub. Could the coach be thinking about resting Owen for the next game? Football critic, I want to get your takes, mate, on Owen and the U20 World Cup update.
Well, I mean, I think it was kind of a surprise considering pundits like Tom Bogert put out their starting 11 for the U.S. men's national team, and Owen wasn't part of it, right? So see him start was pretty good, was pretty satisfying as
Yeah.
as an AustinFC fan. And then the goal was amazing. The goal was just
Oh, great finish.
beautiful. It was a great rocket. It was just beautiful. But you do gotta give Owen some credit because of the sight that he had to see him coming to space, putting the ball in the perfect place for him to control it and then shoot. Like that, it is all Owen's credit for sure. Um, I did watch the under 20 Sudamericano here in Colombia, which is the tournament that qualified all of the South American teams, and Ecuador was the third, maybe four, a little bit of a battle with Colombia, best in that tournament. So it is by far the strongest team that the U.S. has in
Yep.
their group.
Yep.
Fiji, yeah, shouldn't be a problem. I think they got who was it? Slovakia?
Yeah, I think so. Slovakia or Slovenia. Primo, if you
Yeah.
could check that up real quick before we get to you, my G. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
so
football.
after this dub, the US shouldn't have absolutely any problem advancing to the next round. This was the game that they needed to win, and they did.
Yes.
So
Agreed,
should be no
100%.
problem from here on.
Now, before we get to Magic Primo on his take on Owen, see if he can pull that group information for the U20 World Cup for the USA. I do want to say this: leading up into this game, I was in a couple Twitter spaces with some lads that we met from social media. 29, his name's Diego Mendoza. He's one of Weston McKennie's best friends. He's an infamous Twitter persona, you could say. And also there was some spaces with a couple other guys like Jay Hernandez. Kind of like a tactical manager accounts, people that keep up very heavy with the U.S. men's national team side of things. And a lot of them were saying that they were scared of this game. They were saying that they didn't know if they were going to win this game. This was the game that it was a toss-up, right? And the fact that Owen gets to start, the fact that Owen gets 90 minutes, the fact that Owen Wolf gets the assist, I mean, it's awesome for us. And before I go to Primo, one more thing I do want to say, mate. Some teams didn't release their players for this tournament, and I think that is the most ridiculous thing that you could have done to these kids and to yourself financially. Because Owen Wolf performing in this World Cup, I mean, that's only good for us. All because there's so many people looking at this tournament to look for that next star. This is where you're looking for the next big thing, or at least you're looking for one of the next big superstars, right? Now, I'm not saying Owen Wolf is going to be one of these guys, one of these new Vinicius Juniors, one of the new Messis, no, no, no. But I'm saying that showcasing his talents in this tournament for us financially is going to be good for us. PSV's looking at this kid. Germany's looking at this kid. Am I wrong?
Well, do you know what club did not release a player?
Or was it Chicago Fire?
No.
Who?
Oh no, I'm talking about not the US, but general.
Okay. No. Who?
Real Madrid did
Ooh.
not release Endrick, neither for the
Oh, yeah,
Sudamericano
okay.
to qualify,
Okay.
neither for the World Cup. And
Okay.
guess who lost today? Brazil lost 3-2 versus Italy.
Ooh.
So I'm sorry, but hey, if something happens to Brazil, might be Real Madrid's fault. I'm just
Mate,
gonna put it out there.
we're already going through a lot. Don't put more on us, brother. Please.
Hey, facts are facts.
Facts are facts. You're right. Primo, your take, and also did you find that group info?
Yeah, so it is Slovakia that
Slovakia, okay.
they'll be playing, and Fiji. Um, I think it's a really good opportunity for Owen Wolf to go out and be with the national team. I think it's always important for a professional to not only play club but for their country as well, and for them to start as young as U20, representing them at a World Cup stage is really big already. So I think it's going to be good for Owen as a player, and it's going to be good for us because he's an Austin FC player. So
Yep.
he's been doing great this whole season. I think he's going to come back where he left off. And after Danny goes off to Europe, I want to say that Owen Wolf is probably right after him. So maybe PSV. What was he doing with them? Wasn't there something
He was doing some training camp
Yeah, he
over
trained
there.
with them.
Training camp, yeah. And I remember he did a podcast. Him and Josh Wolf.
That's
They
right.
did a
Mhm.
podcast with this guy out there. It's a really interesting pod. I actually heard it 2 times. It was freaking great, bro. And Owen was dripped out in PSV gear.
His big gear,
Yeah,
right?
and I was like, bro, you're an Austin FC player. What the hell you doing dripped out in PSV gear, dog? But it is what it is. We could be teeing him up for that, and I have no problem with it because if we get paid, I'm all for it, my G. I'm all for it. We can use that money to invest it in other players, and we just say thank you, Owen, for your contributions, and best of luck to you in your career, mate. Yes or no, boys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Now, boys, I want to get into the European segment. Not skipping a beat, jumping right into it, and we're gonna start off with Real Madrid because insane scenes happened today in Spain. Real Madrid against Valencia, an away game. They were at the stadium for Valencia was it at the Mestalla, if I'm not mistaken, right? Valencia
I
Stadium.
actually don't know.
If one of you can check real quick, I think it's called El Mestalla. But it was incredible scenes, bro, and not incredible in a good way. I have notes here from Eric. Says Real Madrid headed over to Valencia in hopes to keep their second place spot, but Lopez had other ideas as he scores for Valencia in the 33rd minute, and things went crazy as we saw a Valencia player kick a ball that wasn't in play straight to Vini's path when he had the ball, and racist chants were directed to Vini and was given a red card in the 97th minute. This is unacceptable by La Liga. Say no to racism. Now, a couple things that I want to add on before I get y'all's takes. I'm gonna start off with you, Primo. Videos circulating around the internet of fans chanting around the Real Madrid bus saying Vinicius monkey, Vinicius monkey, Vinicius monkey, and unacceptable. And then another thing that I want to note, Vinicius Jr. also points out to the supporters at Valencia. He's saying with signals with his hands, he's saying you guys are going down to second division, saying down two, because Valencia is in turmoil right now. They are 5 points clear of the relegation zone, but they're in a battle right now to stay in the top tier soccer of Spanish football, in the top tier division of Spanish football. And then Vinicius Jr. went out to social media and he had some statements. I'm going to read a couple of those real quick. Let's see where I have them here. Vinicius Jr., he says, a beautiful nation which welcomed me and which I love, but which agreed to export the image of a racist country to the world. I'm sorry for the Spaniards who don't agree, but today in Brazil, Spain is known as a country of racists. And unfortunately, for everything that happens each week, I have no defense. I agree, but I am strong and I will go to their end against racists, even if far from here. Now, Tebas, the La Liga president, he did go on to Twitter, and instead of showing support to Vinicius, bro, this guy criticized he criticized him. He delivered more criticism to Vinicius Jr., saying to get informed more. And instead of saying that La Liga is racist, to get informed properly and know what's really going on. I mean, what is going through this guy's mind to even say that at right now in this moment? Instead of showing support to his player, one of the most popular players in the league that he runs. You need superstars in your league. I mean, if you don't protect your own players, why should anybody want to come to this league? I mean, I'm embarrassed to support a team that plays in La Liga right now, and I love Real Madrid. But the fact that La Liga is not protecting players like Vini, I'm embarrassed, bro, to say that my favorite team plays in La Liga right now. And I want to start off with you, Primo. Do you share any of that I just said? Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. Just, it sucks that stuff like that is still going on in football, and there's so many other ways to express, I guess, your anger towards a player. You can boo at the player, you can say as many cuss words, but as soon as it turns into these racist comments, the color of his skin has nothing to do with football or the way he plays. So it's just taking it personal, and it's just not Valencia. It happened in when we played against Atletico Madrid, was another situation, which was pretty bad, and the league has the power to do what they need to do to stop this. Ban the fans from coming to the stadium. There should be some kind of punishment. But it's a shitty situation, honestly. It's not only happening in Spain, it's happening in other leagues also. So it's just a shock because he's so good. Like you said, La Liga should be protecting a player like Vinicius. He's probably top, other than Benzema, the face of La Liga. He's up there. So
Yep.
for him not to be protected and for him to be going through that every single game, what seems like is just a shame. So
And that's why I was shocked, because whenever big names like Neymar, Messi, Ronaldo were starting to leave La Liga, he was one of the first ones that were crying, saying that, we need big superstars. We can't compete with EPL if we don't have superstars. Nobody's gonna watch this league. Well, bro, if you don't protect Vini, one of the most like exciting players to watch in world football, why should Mbappe come to this league? Why should anybody come to this league if they know that the main dude in charge of the league is not gonna protect these players, bro? Now, I did have people, which I'm not gonna name. Some people did hit me up. They were saying, "Yo, did you see what's going on right now?" And I was saying, "Yeah, man, what the hell?" They were saying, "Yeah, I can't believe Vini is causing all this." And I was like, "What, bro? What? Like, what? Like, Vini? How is he the one that should be punished? He's clearly the victim." I don't know. Maybe top flight listeners think otherwise. Maybe they see it in another light. But before I go to Football Critic, I want to read this message that I got from Instagram. This one says, "Honestly, though, I'd hate to see him leave Madrid. For his own mental health, Vini might want to think about EPL. Spain is toxic when it comes to racism, worse even than France or Italy. England isn't unblemished in that regard, but at least the authorities there, match officials, league representatives, police, give enough of a shit to actually do something about it after it happens. In this situation, the fans should obviously be ashamed of themselves, but this ref should be too, and the league won't do a damn thing about it." Ancelotti in the press conference, Football Critic, I want to get you in now, mate. He shows 100% support to Vini. The reporter wants to talk about the game, and Ancelotti's like, "You want to talk about the game? Hell no, we're talking about Vinicius Jr. right now." Football Critic, your thoughts on everything right now surrounding Real Madrid?
Well, I mean, it's true what Primo says. It doesn't happen only in Spain. Like in South America, in Copa Libertadores, whenever a team from Argentina, Ecuador, Peru, wherever else that is not Brazil faces a Brazilian team, they are calling them monkeys. When in La Liga, do you remember that incident when they threw a banana to
Oh
Dani
yeah,
Alves?
that's
You know,
happened to Balotelli also, bro.
That too. With the French national team, a lot of French people were saying that's not my national team because they're all blacks and I'm not. That racism is just absurd. It's ridiculous that it's still happening everywhere in the world, especially when we have had so many amazing, great talents of people of color, and they still do that. I mean, to me, it's just ridiculous. At some point, I think they do it because Valencia supporters they just want to insult their rivals, right? Not the best idea, and it's not okay to get the racist card there and just go for the easy way out to just call them, they make fun of them because of the color. I like pretty much that you could boo them or you could say a whole lot of worse stuff. That's not about race to mess with your rival's head. So like you said, the EPL does a really, really great job at doing that. France doesn't, Spain doesn't, South America doesn't. Like It's just everywhere, and it's really, really hard to control or for people to actually care about it. Um, from Vini's side, I think some of the criticism goes towards the fact that, and I could agree a little bit here, is more like if you're a pro player and these things happen, you obviously need to speak your mind and do so in a press conference, do so outside. Don't get involved emotionally in the game and with the fans, because that's not gonna do you any good. Because you know how the media tunes, stuff around to make you look either the hero or the villain. So that might have be a little bit of a mishandled situation by Vini. Um, but that's it. Like, he has all of the right to be defended and to be,
Yep.
supported in this situation.
Now, a quick quote from Vini. This is from his Instagram. He goes on to say, "It wasn't the first time, not the second, and not the third. Racism is normal in La Liga. The competition thinks it's normal. So does the federation, and the opponents encourage it. I'm so sorry. The championship that once belonged to Ronaldinho, Ronaldo Nazario, Fenomeno, Cristiano, CR7, and Messi, today belongs to the racists." Powerful words from Vini there, made. I mean, it doesn't get more clear than that. I mean, Vinicius Jr. right now going through it, Spanish football going through it. And I want to say this, even though it happened in the Mestalla Valencia's ground, if you know a Valencia fan here, I mean, that doesn't mean that they're part of that. It doesn't represent everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because a certain group of fans is like it doesn't represent the whole organization and all the other fans, because I know a few Valencia fans that are great people. You know what I'm saying? So I know that it doesn't represent all of the Valencia's fans' views. And uh, I mean, I don't want to spend too much more time on this topic because it's so unfortunate, bro. It's honestly freaking disgusting that it's still going on right now. And we know the history of Spain. We know the history of Germany. We know the history of Italy. We know how dark it gets, if you go into the World War II eras. So some of this stuff, I mean, it's rooted, systematic, and hopefully we can get over it as soon as possible, especially in football where it has no place. I want to go into maybe a little bit of Barcelona talk. Just congrats to them. We talked about them last part, and they won La Liga. They also had a bit of an incident. They had a bit of an incident themselves because they were celebrating their league in the opponent's ground. What was it, Español's, doing a
Espanol,
ring,
yeah.
doing a ring around the rosy in their half field, and then the fans from Español got onto the pitch. They started to charge at them, and Barcelona players ran into the locker room, and whole other mess right there, mate. Let's see, but not spending too much time on Barca, even though Vanilla Mexican took a Barca jersey to Q2 Stadium last night, which was absolutely disgusting. Disgusting scenes. Let's see. Let's see. We talked about City. We talked about Real Madrid. Real quick, we have a note here from Eric. He says Rudiger was furious as he didn't start versus Man City, as he thought Ancelotti told the press he would start, but Ancelotti was speaking about Rodrigo. Players had to calm him down as they also believe he would start. Ancelotti blood on his hands. We talked about this midweek. Primo, yes or no? Ancelotti blood on his hands?
I No,
No. Okay. All right. All right.
no.
Football critic, your answer real quick. Yes or no? Ancelotti to blame for the loss? Blood on his hands? Yes
I
or no?
I mean, yes and no, because Rudiger did a really good job the first game. So you don't really want to bench the guy who neutralized Haaland. But at the same time, I don't think Rudiger would have done anything that much different to avoid a 4-0 loss. Yeah, sure, he
Yeah.
may have saved you for a 3-0, but that's it.
Now, I don't want to spend too much time on Real Madrid. We did have a whole segment right there on Vini. I want to share the praise to other teams in the time that we have. A couple of minutes left on the Top Flight Pod. I want to just give some praise to Man City, boys. Man City, 5 league titles in 6 seasons. Congratulations to them. This is City's ninth Premier League title in City's history, fourth Premier League title in the last 5 years for City under Pep Guardiola, and Pep's fifth in total. I mean, congrats to them. I have a few Manchester City friends. Shout out to Cross. Shout out to Michael Demara, and also the Verde Ranger, who got a video of me last at Q2 Stadium where he gets a video of me adjusting the collar on my shirt and he takes off his Manchester City hat and he kind of shows it in front of the camera. So congrats to all those City fans. Enjoy it, rejoice in it. You guys are probably weeks away from a treble, if we're being honest. A real freaking treble for Manchester City. I mean, that changes history. So, real quick, football critic, any thoughts that you have on Man City?
I think they're great. I mean, I know there's some controversy about financial fair play and whatnot, but regardless, I think Pep does a great job at managing all of these talents and having all of this depth and being able to, just shine everywhere. They won the race versus Arsenal. They destroyed Real Madrid. They play really, really good football, and that's all you can ask for in a football club. So yeah.
Primo, same question goes to you, mate.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and congratulate Man City for winning the league. I know you asked me last week to congratulate Barca, and I just couldn't do that. But I'll go ahead and congratulate Man City because they're really, really good, bro. They play fantastic football.
Yeah.
Really entertaining to watch Man City, and I think I checked last time. I think they're the first team to three-peat since Man U back in their winning days. So, just shout out to Man City. They're always fighting. They're always providing really good football. Everyone's so talented on that team, from the goalie all the way up to the striker, even the manager, the coaching staff. Everyone on that team is just amazing, man. And you can see it by the way they whooped us in the Champions League and the way they took over the race against Arsenal, and then now they're just set up for a treble. So not many teams get to treble. When was the last time like an English team treble? Since Man U, maybe?
Yeah, I think it was like 98, 99.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
For them
big
to
ups.
be doing it.
Big ups.
Yeah, big ups.
Big ups, because a couple years ago, everybody was laughing at Man City, saying that they're an oil team, that they just buy success, that they'll never have history. But, bro, history has been in the making the past 5 to 6 years for City. They're building something fantastic.
Oh.
They're no longer that meme team. These guys are actually doing it right. They're what PSG thought that they were going to be. You know what I'm saying? But let's see. Before we end the pod tonight, I want to give praise to Nottingham Forest. Mark Turner's Nottingham Forest secured their permanency in the EPL. Thank you, football critic, your exquisite vocabulary. But they get permanency in the EPL. They stay. They beat Arsenal, bro, against all odds. Who would have thought that they beat Arsenal to remain in the EPL? I do want to send a shout out to Mark Turner, George Murray, who at one point worked with the striker. Nottingham Forest fans must be over the moon. I mean, this is what you want as an EPL owner, as an EPL team. You want your team to remain, to survive that relegation battle. And Nottingham Forest survives it, mate. Just real quick, your thoughts on Nottingham Forest to end the pod tonight.
I think they did. They did a good enough job after coming back to the EPL and then surviving. One would hope for them to do better, to not come back and just start, fighting all of the time to barely get out of relegation spots. But good for them. I think with this secured, they can now build, their team better and move on, and would, it's a good thing to happen to a team. Kind of sad for Leicester though. I don't want to see them going down, but
yeah.
Hey.
Real quick, football critic, yes or no? If Leicester City were to go down, would you sign Jamie Vardy for AustinFC?
Oh man,
bring another 30+ striker.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think he would do better than Zardes and Maxi.
Okay.
But no, get me Firmino.
Oh, Firmino, he's on the market. I like that. Primo, mate, same thing goes to you. Same question. Any thoughts you want to share on Nottingham Forest journey? Mark Turner. Next for the episode 100, for the official episode 100, either Bali and I will be wearing that Nottingham Forest jersey that he did so kindly let us borrow for the studio. But Primo, any thoughts to end the pod tonight on Nottingham Forest?
Yeah, I think just they, got the job done. They stayed up. I know they got promoted this season after a long time, and Nottingham Forest has history behind them. They have a couple of Champions Leagues under their name, so definitely have some good history, and it's good just to see them in the top flight league. And they have my boy Gaylord Navas out there, so Real
Yeah.
Madrid legend. So it's good to see them and stay up and
It is.
know.
It is good, right? And I was actually watching that game, and even though as much as I wanted Arsenal to win, to keep whatever fight there is versus Man City to make it go into the last match day or whatever, there was a bit of me that wanted Nottingham Forest to win this game, to get that second goal or to just hold on to that 1-0, which they did. And also, it was funny to watch the Nottingham Forest owner go on screen every like 5 or 6 minutes. They would like put the camera to him, and he was losing his mind, bro. He was like just like so nervous, wanting the game to end, but he was keeping it cool. I do want to give him that. He was keeping it cool, but you could tell that this dude was like, oh my God, end this game, end this game, end this game. And when chances didn't fall, because they did have chances for that second goal, it seemed like he was just frustrated with the chances that weren't falling. But at the end of the game, 90 minutes conclude, and Nottingham Forest stay in the EPO for another run. So congrats to Mark Turner. Like I said, congrats to George Murray and any Nottingham Forest that listen to this podcast. Congrats to y'all, and I can't wait to support them in their next run next season. I love it. I love it, boys. Anything else you want to add, guys?
Fun little stat. It is one of the. It's been a while since it's happened, but all three teams that got promoted are staying in the Premier League.
Okay, all three teams that got promoted are staying in the Premier League. Okay, and Chelsea is not going to be a team that's relegated. They did secure permanency, just like Football Critic said. Let's see, is there any notes that I can finish up here that Eric added on Nottingham? We'll talk more about the EPL roundup at the episode 100, so y'all can stay tuned there. But let's see, Mark Turner's Nottingham Forest has secured staying in the Premier League and has officially ended the Gunners' title race. Yada yada, we know that. All right, y'all. Have a good night, boys. Thank you for being here. Another episode, 99.5 of the Top Flight Podcast, episode 100, coming next Sunday. So stay tuned. I know, be sick, Bali is sick, so we had to come up with some situation, and 99.5 just made sense. So here it is. Have a good night, everybody. See you soon.